Hi, welcome back to our Learn Git series. This is a part 2 video, and if you haven't watched part 1, you may continue watching this or come back later and watch the first part. Today, we're going to learn how to reapply your stash changes, how to create a .gitignore file, and how to undo your commits and changes through executing the following Git commands: check out, clean, revert, and reset. Previously, we stashed our chapter 1 text file, and now we will learn 2 ways to put it back. Before we try out those commands, let's take a peek at the stash list. Use git stash apply if you want your stash on your working copy, and at the same time, keep them in your stash list. Git stash pop reapplies them on your working copy and removes the changes from your stash. If we look at the stash list, it's now empty as the stash has been popped from the stack. Ignored files are usually build artifacts and machine-generated files that can be derived from your repository source or should otherwise not be committed. Some common examples are file generated on runtime like .log or .loc, compiled code such as .class or .pyc files. Usually, you'll see .gitignore file at the root of your repository. You can also have your personal gitignore rules or even a global one. Now let's create a .ignore file that will ignore all files that has a file name extension of .log. Let's create a book.log to ensure that all our .log files will be ignored by Git. If we list the files, the system sees it, but Git will ignore it. Say we now want to commit all .log files. We just need to remove it from the ignore list and Git will recognize it right away. In Git terms, a checked out is the act of switching between different versions of a target entity. The git checkout command operates upon 3 distinct entities: files, commits, and branches. Right now, we only have the master branch. Let's create a branch out of master branch. The flag B tells Git to create the branch and check it out at the same time. If you want to see all the branches in your repo, just type git branch. And if you want to switch back to master, just git checked out master. Git clean removes untracked files from the working tree. It cleans the working tree by recursively removing fields that are not under version control, starting from the current directory. I've checked out the new chapter branch and created a couple of files. Now I wanted to remove them, but before doing so, I want to see which files will be removed. Just pass in -n or dry run and it will give you the files that will be removed. I'm now sure that I want to remove those files. This happens as config clean.require force defaults to true, so unless you set that to false or add -f, it will proceed with cleanup. The git revert command is used for undoing changes to our repository's commit history. Instead of removing the commit from the project history, it figures out how to invert the changes introduced by the commit and appends a new commit with the resulting inverse content. This prevents Git from losing history, which is important for the integrity of your revision history and for reliable collaboration. To demo the revert command, we're going to create 2 commits. I've created chapter 1 and chapter 2 text as first commit, and then chapter 3 as second commit. Inspecting the logs, we now see 2 new commits since the initial commit we've made in part 1. Git revert expects a commit ref or commit ID and will not execute without one. Here we have passed in the head reference. This will revert the latest commit. A revert will create a new commit which will open up the configured system editor, prompting for a new commit message. Once a commit message has been entered and saved, Git will resume operation. We can now examine the state of the repo using git log and see that there is a new commit added to the previous log. Similarly, we can revert a specific commit using the commit ID. Here we're going to revert the commit we did for adding the chapter 1 and chapter 2 text files. And here's what a commit edit message looks like. Once again, if we inspect the commit history, there's a new revert commit added to the previous log. Git reset is a powerful command that is used to undo local changes to the state of a Git repo. It operates on the 3 trees of Git. These trees are the commit history or the head, the staging index, and the working directory. There are 3 command line options that correspond to the 3 trees. The options --soft, --mixed, and the --hard can be passed to Git reset. A good use case of reset is when you want to have atomic commits. Let's say you've added a file but now you want to undo it. Git reset will move it back to a working directory. Since we did not pass in any mode, by default what it did was the reset --mix mode. If git revert is a safe way to undo changes, you can think of git reset as a dangerous method. There is a real risk of losing work with git reset. Whereas reverting is designed to safely undo public commit, git reset is designed to undo local changes to the staging index and working directory. Because of their distinct goals, the 2 commands are implemented differently. Resetting completely removes a change set, whereas reverting maintains the original change set and uses a new commit to apply the undo. Today we learned that we can ignore files or directory through .gitignore file. We also learned 2 ways to reapply our stash changes, and with the stash list command we can view the stash stack as well. We also learned how to undo our changes the safe and dangerous way. And we can simply switch out to different branches to start on our feature branch workflow. Alright, so this concludes our basic Git commands. Let me know by leaving a comment if you want a tutorial for advanced Git commands. Thank you for watching. Until the next tutorial!